Hey everybody, welcome to today's video called I Love You. Now I'm not just throwing that out there, but what I'm going to be doing today is teaching you how to say I love you in Chinese and how to write it in the Chinese characters. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. By the end, you're going to be able to write this all by yourself. Before we get into that though, I'd like to point out a couple things that I like to use that have helped me learn and study Chinese over the past years, and I think it'd be really helpful for anybody in pursuing learning any language, but Chinese specifically. So the first thing that I would like to suggest is just a Chinese character dictionary. This thing has tons of different characters, 3,000 of them, sorry. And you're going to be able to look up anything that's very common, popular, and used in day-to-day language and speaking. So that's your first kind of key to learning. Second thing, get yourself a notebook that you can practice writing, and you can make notes for yourself and write down things that are going to help you learn. This is my character journal. So what I've done here is made lines down all my pages so that I have a ton of little squares. And then I've just written each individual character across each line there and practiced for hours and hours. This notebook represents tons of time that I've spent practicing writing characters and putting the time into study. Obviously, you're gonna have to put time into anything that you want to get good at and study, especially a language. And ideally, you're gonna be able to practice speaking with other people. But for today's lesson, we're gonna be focusing on writing. This is actually like a calligraphy pen. It's really fun to practice with these things. Comes out with kind of a different look to your character, and you can practice manipulating your writing and how it turns out. So with those simple things, we can get on and get started with this video. So first, let's learn how to say I love you in Chinese. Okay, so it's really simple. It's 3 syllables. 我爱你. Okay, and just like what I've written down here, that's exactly what it means. So 我 is me, or I. I means love or to love. And then ni is you. Okay, notice here the little tones that I've written on the top of these words on the pinyin here. That is the guide of how to pronounce these characters. Okay, so that's kind of the romanization of these characters. So to let you hear what it sounds like in just, straightforward, it says 我爱你. Okay, practice saying that a couple times, get used to it, and kind of look at these characters and kind of get used to what they look like, because we're going to learn how to write them right now. Alright, now I'll break each of these characters down stroke by stroke so you can see how they're constructed, and then I'll write them a little bit quicker so you can see how they kind of look like coming together. So the first one is I. It looks like this. Okay, so the way you write this one, it's got 7 strokes. I'll go through a little bit slower right now. So you start with this stroke here, goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, and the way you pronounce this one is 我. Okay, and remember that means I. Okay, for the second character, it looks like this. All right, so there's 13 strokes in this character. So here it is a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And remember, this one you pronounce I, and that means love. And finally, the last character looks like this one coming together. Okay, So here it is a little bit slower. This one also has 7 strokes to it. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Pretty simple. And the way you pronounce this one is ni. And that means you. All right. So one last time, I'll write it a little bit quicker. And then you guys can take your own time to kind of review and practice writing these characters out. So this is what it looks like. Okay, wo ai ni. All right, guys, and we're back to here. So just a couple last few pointers before we wrap up the video. You can write something out like this and just trace over it and over each individual line and just practice writing each character out several times. You know, you can keep tracing these same characters. And what I've done that's I found really helpful is to say the characters out loud as I'm writing them. You can either repeat them over and over in your head as you're writing it, or out loud is what I mean, or you can just do it once for every time you write the character down. So if you do that, you know, the repetition of getting the practice in is along with writing each character down, you know, you're going to start making connections within your head and it's going to start clicking. And then once you come across these words again in your other studies, you're going to be able to remember them easier. And as you remember the words of how to say them, you'll also remember the structures of how these characters look and how you write them because they're connected to the speech that you've learned. So those are some tips and tricks on how to learn writing I love you in Chinese. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, just let me know.